we've just dropped a ton of new hats on the FYD Apparel website. Link is in the description. This is including my favourite, the completely blacked out with the black diamond on top. Available in 5 new colours with blacked out diamond crosses on the front. These UK manufactured trucker hats are a must this summer. Available in very limited numbers. Support the channel, FYD Apparel, link is in the description. So in the early 90s, my mum and dad went and bought a Mark V Cortina. And when I was young, I remember the back seat very, very well. They had a saloon, but I thought, let's harp back to me as a 4 or 5-year-old and take out this fantastic example of a Mark V Cortina. So thank you so much to the owner for letting me take this out. It has been nigh on 30 years since I've been in one of these, so I'm super excited to see what it's like. I've driven a few things from the 80s in the last couple of weeks, so to me, this is like one of those cars that maybe your nan had, your granddad had, you had, or a family member would have had at one point. Relatively rare these days, hard to find a nice one. This one is a survivor car. Yes, it's had a different engine put in it though. It came out the factory with a 1.6 litre engine, but it is running the 2 litre Pinto lump in it now, mainly to keep up with traffic. Basically, the owner was talking to me and said, you know, wanted a bit more power. There was a Pinto lump going. I thought, why not? Let's put it in. So, as I've already said, this is a survivor car. The best thing about the story of this car, though, and we'll get into the story straight away, is that it's pretty original paint. There's a few paint imperfections here and there to show that it is genuine paint. And it is a 3-owner car, with one of the owners being Cadbury's. The owner looked into it, and apparently at one point, Cadbury's was one of the last 2 owners. Whether it was when it was new and it was a pull car for Cadbury's themselves, or they were the second owners and they used to do deliveries in it, or whatever it is, this was owned by Cadbury's probably in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. How cool is that? The car itself though, and we'll do like sort of an overview of it, because again, I've been driving a few 80s cars recently. It is fantastically comfy in here. Like, it is such a pleasant place to be. You have this huge 2-prong steering wheel in front of you, actually relatively direct, if I'm honest. As we come around a sharper corner, the car lurches around though, but it is 80s normal passenger car feeling, if that makes any sense. It wallows a little bit in the corners, but I sort of like it for that. I like that it's that way inclined, where its focus is to actually be a little bit more comfortable than what the other cars that I've driven in, you know, previous weeks, especially Sierra Cosworth, my Series 1, Renault 5 GT Turbo, bits like that. This is sort of the other end of the spectrum, where it is a normalised passenger car, but it means you still get the sense of occasion in this. I still feel like I'm in something so cool from the era. You have this faux shui wooden dash in front of me, which actually, again, as an 80s car, it sort of works. Everything in front of me is very simple. There's no digitalised climate control, which I actually appreciate. I like that the switches and switch gear in front of me is all just there. You swipe across to get the heating on, you swipe across to get the blowers on a little bit hotter, and the 2 switches in front of me on the dash are the hazards and the heated rear windscreen. There's something about the minimalist idea of cars from this era, even down to wind up windows. I've got the window down a little bit today because it is genuinely so hot, but it's cool bits like that, even down to the wing mirrors are manual. There's something about that, and although people may gloss past that in, you know, features of these cars, there's something about it that I quite like. So 2 litre Pinto, we'll grab second gear, shall we? It sounds good. It sounds era correct, this thing. It sounds like you could be late 90s right now, just cruising on a family vacation somewhere. It feels like that. It feels like that car. It has a Type 9 with a 5-speed gearbox in it as well. Very good shift patterns. you change gear, it's not direct, but I like the sort of, I'm not going to say slackness, but the ease of going through and rowing through the gears is actually something that I miss from a lot of cars. The stirring the pot sort of feel, it's quite nice in a weird way. I know I'm a weird person, but like changing gear, it's like, and you just sort of swerve it into fifth. It's a really nice, easy way of changing gear, where everything these days is so direct and notchy and this and that. But if I was cruising with the family, I'd want to change gear with a gearbox like this. It's just nice. It's just nice. Now, stunning location. Let's have a quick look round, because I need to show this in all of its glory from the outside as well. You have these Softline Mark 6 Escort wheels. Again, relatively period correct, an old wheel on an old car, this from different generations, but I think it sort of suits it. Hella front light setup though. I like these on this era of Ford. Maybe I'm a little bit weird, tell me in the comments below. A relatively cheap add-on maybe these days. Something cool though. I like the bigger and more light setup, if that makes any sense. Coming around to this Caribbean blue paint though, it looks, again, as is, as factory. There's, you know, blemishes and there's bits of, you know, trim missing, but I feel like it should look that way if it's a survivor car. And that's sort of why I wanted to do this video more than anything, because this could be 2023, it could be 1995. You wouldn't necessarily notice the difference, because this car is that car. It's still wearing the 1.6 litre badging at the back there. We will come and just have a little nose inside. I remember, of course, jumping in the back seat of these cars way back when I was a lot younger and a lot fitter than I am now. These seats that are so nice, so comfortable. I mean, look at the padding. So cool. Waffle mats there as well. Look at that, with the steering lock in there. You need that on these old cars. Coming into the front, nice bit of wood veneer across the front there, waffle mats of course, and these seats again, I'm going to say, just such a nice place to be. Relatively standard in here as well, a couple of speakers, but apart from that, and the steering wheel just being one of the coolest steering wheels, it's lovely in here. Another very period correct thing here, everyone wanted an ashtray, didn't they? So ashtrays in the doors. The seats, I will say as well, are phenomenal. They are so comfortable, and there's no crazy wear in here. It's, you know, we were talking, it's a 3-owner car. It feels like a 3-owner car. There's no crazy wear on the steering wheel, no crazy wear on any of the door cards. It actually feels really well presented inside here. It feels like it hasn't had too many hard miles, which is always so nice when you jump in one of these, because they were used so much in daily drivers. For a lot of people, these cars would have taken the brunt of wear and tear. This one, it feels like it hasn't had that life. Just funny looking back, it's actually relatively large for its era. I feel it is anyway. Parking it next to my Series 1 when I actually came to shoot this, it's a lot longer than that car is. It has 15-inch Mark 6 soft lines on it. Again, a relatively period correct aftermarket Ford wheel that sort of worked with this car. It's slightly lowered at the front on a 1-inch drop. The rear is still at standard height, but I think it gives quite a good aggressive stance. Makes it really nice to drive, you know, going up for say a 13-inch wheel that these come with a standard up to these Mark 6 wheels. It actually drives and tracks really, really nicely. Yes, you have the sway in the suspension, but again, I'm going to go back to that. I sort of like it in a weird way. I like that it's got a bit of character to this suspension and a bit of ease when you go around the corner, and a lot of comfort, like a lot of comfort. This is one of those cars I wanted to tick off the list on the channel though. I know it's not one of the cars that's a be and end all fire breathing thing, and it's not going to light your pants on fire with the speed, but like, it's such a good talking point because so many people had these cars. My mum had one of these and I remember it very well, and it's cool 30 years later to jump in one of these. I'm very impressed. I like it. But thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Remember, FYD Apparel link is in the description. Support the channel. We'll see you on the next one.